Hey guys, Alex from 7th Hour Films back again with Delicious in Dungeon. Last time around, we had Hot Pot / Tart, where basically, we got to know our crew of adventurers, our party, and they met a lovely man named Senshi, who was a chef who specialized in cooking monsters. And so they teamed up because they have to go get Leos' sister, who was swallowed by a dragon, potentially still alive, and so they are now venturing their way through the dungeon and cooking everything that they find on the way. And that is much to the dismay of Marcel, who doesn't want to eat monsters, but doesn't really have a choice in the matter. But luckily, the food that Senshi cooks is really good, actually. So yeah. This week, as opposed to last week, I'm doing this after lunch, so hopefully I'm not going to be quite as hungry by the end of this, but the jury's still out on that. I might still be like, I want to eat some of this stuff, but oh well, I guess we'll see. But yeah, like always, the reaction is down in the description and in the pinned comment for your viewing pleasure, so let's go ahead and jump right into this episode of Delicious in Dungeon. Here we go. Alrighty. Boy, oh boy. Yeah, I'm hungry. God damn it. I just had lunch. Oh my god. I'm just gonna have to deal with this for the next 20 or so episodes. Oh, wow. Oh boy, it's so interesting. I meant to talk about this in the discussion last episode, but man, what a thing cooking is, you know? Just like the ability to take all this shit and make it delicious in a dungeon. But seriously, it's just crazy. There's something, and there's also something inherently. There's something appealing about the idea of cooking, like being a cook specifically. It's like, I don't know, I feel like everyone in the world at some point wants to be able to cook something properly, you know? Which is weird, but it's just like, maybe it's just because it's this thing that humans need, you know? It's something we all share. We all share the need to eat, to sustain ourselves, you know? And so because of that, the best way of doing that is to cook, you know? And you could even say, like, to an extent, maybe that goes back to this, like, I don't know, I was about to get probably existential, and I don't know if that's worth doing, but, I don't know, I mean, because it's just, like, because you can also just, like, you can just go get stuff, like, you don't even have to cook, you know? Like, I remember, slightly off topic, but I remember on Twitter, I saw a whole big stink about AI art, and rightfully so, but it was also just another Tuesday on Twitter, really. It was a whole big stink about AI art, and completely justified, but I saw someone say, you know, making AI art does not make you an artist, in the same way that you are not a chef because you put, you know, something in the microwave. And I thought about that, and I thought, yeah, but I would ironically call myself a chef if I did that. That's the thing, you know? I wouldn't say that unironically, but look, you know, I am 27 years old, so as you can guess, I do cook things in a microwave. So, you know, I go out and I get, you know, some frozen pizza. I actually found recently, about a month ago at Target, I found frozen grilled cheese. And I saw that, I was like, there's no way. But sure enough, I picked one up and I tried it. And the instructions were, it's like, you put it in the microwave for 30 seconds-ish. I have to put it in for like 50 seconds in my microwave, but you put it in for about 30 seconds in your microwave. Then you take it out and put it in your toaster for a little while, and then it becomes a nice warm grilled cheese. And it's very basic, you know. It's a very basic thing, but it's essentially like pre-cooked and then frozen and sold, you know, in stores. But I got those, and honestly, it was actually really good. It's not as good as just a homemade grilled cheese, but I was like, you know what? For my lunches when I'm, between recordings and stuff, and I just need to make something to eat, it's not bad. So, but even that, it's just like this like feeling of like, man, I could, I want to make a thing to consume, let alone like actually cooking, like I do that and I'm like, yeah, I have obtained sustenance for myself. I have obtained my lunch, but man, to actually like cook and like do things like it's a crazy concept to me. And I mean, honestly, you just got to do it. There's no and obviously there's, it takes practice and, you get better over time and stuff, but it's just like, it literally is just a thing anybody can do, you just do it. You just figure it out, so, but there's just something about it that's so appealing, and I mean, it's like, the funny thing is, so if you guys watched my free run reactions, I talked about a couple times like what I would be like in this world, like if even though these aren't isekai shows, like if I got isekai'd into this world, and it's just like, what would I be doing? What would I want to do in this world? And I thought about, and I would talk about like, well, because I wouldn't have like a lot of the entertainment that I have in this world, it's like I'd have to figure something out. But now that I'm thinking about it, it's like, oh, I would love to cook. And, and that's the funny thing is watching all of this, it's like, man, Freeran and Fern, and probably and Stark too, but all three of them would love to be a part of this team, They would love to have Senshi cook them things, So, I would totally want to do that. That would be one of my things. Like, I talked about, like, drawing and wood carving and, maybe playing an instrument and stuff to pass the time. But cooking? That'd be something. That would definitely be something. It's so interesting, man. But yeah, and I like to, like, clearly, like, it's always funny to get shows like this. What's another example I can think of? I can't think of one off the top of my head, but I like stories like this where it's like such a hyper specific topic, really. Like, obviously the medieval fantasy is one thing, but having on top of that this whole thing about cooking, it's like clearly the author was a huge fan of cooking and wanted to incorporate that into a manga, and I would be curious to hear, like, what is the story of how this was made? How did the author think of this? Because it's like, I love stories like this where it's this, like, hyper-specific topic that now stretches the entire show, All of Delicious in Dungeon is going to be about cooking in the dungeons, And that's a really interesting thing, So I really like that. And I'm curious just, where we'll go with all of this, I can't think of another example where it's just like, it's this kind of show, but they do this, I guess, because I kind of mentioned this in the first episode, the show is a mini show with like 3-minute episodes, called Love is Like a Cocktail, and in every episode, like I said, they give like a little tutorial on how to make this alcoholic beverage that this guy makes. And I always thought, well, that's really interesting, It's just like this, like, it's basically just a rom-com anime, but with this hyper-specific spin to it, It's the same thing with here, whereas this is a medieval fantasy with a very hyper-specific focus on something, And so you get all the stuff that would be in a medieval fantasy, but at the same time, there's so much cooking, Like the top of this episode, it's like, we need to find monsters with more fat so that we can cook that up and have a nice balanced meal, Like, that's really, really interesting. And then, when the other two adventurers there, they're like, we need to, we've been doing this for like 3 months. We can't get past this floor, so it's like we want to know how to get stronger. And he's just like, eat, sleep, exercise. Like, it's just get better. I don't know, man. Just do it. Just do it. So that was good. And then we had the monsters for this episode. First, we had the Basilisk, which was fun. It is interesting because it's like you kind of focus on the chicken side, and you're like, oh well, that's the main head, but it's not, because with a Basilisk, it's the snake. The snake is the main head. The chicken head is actually the tail, which is funny. But that was interesting. Interesting watching them deal with that. Then there was the Mandrake. And man, we went through like 2 different arcs in this episode. We had the whole Mandrake thing, which was interesting. Which, Marcel is an interesting character. Which I really like that they went into this in this show. Because it's like, or in this episode specifically. Because it's like, Marcel is an interesting character. Because she's so out of it, like she doesn't want to do any of this stuff. And Chilchuk, he's not really like into the stuff, but he's just like, whatever, it's food, I'll take it, But it's interesting, going with the whole like, well, she has this book that teaches you how to do it, and it's just like, well, why don't you just cut off their heads before you pull them out? And it's just like, that is a good idea, That way you're not, you're not sacrificing a dog. You're not sacrificing a dog, and you're getting this giant bat to do it, and then potentially, getting the effects of the Mandrake too. So that's interesting, but yeah, it's just like, which way is the right way of doing it? But I like that once it's all cooked and everything, they realize that the omelet that was made from her Mandrake is actually a little bit better. And it's an interesting thing. It's basically the risk-reward thing of like, well, you could minimize the risk, cut off the heads, and do all that, and it's fine. But if you take that risk and you can survive it, which she was able to do, luckily, if you can get through it, then you're rewarded with something a little bit better, So I like that, and I like that, because I mean, this poor girl, between last episode and this poor girl is going through so much right now, and her party members are either crazy or they don't really or they're constantly complaining about her and stuff, and it's just like, and some of it is warranted, sure, but it's just like, man, this girl just can't catch a break. So I like that after that she basically in her confusion told the truth of that, and they apologize. She's not a burden. They need her. They do need her. And I hope we get more. I mean, I guess that was sort of our moment of like, hey, Marcel did something really, really good. But I do hope we get another scenario where it's like, okay, we need magic right now. We need magic to do something right now. So, in the same way that, we had this, we then go on into the traps, which is really interesting, which is all Chilchuk. That's all his domain is the traps. And it's interesting because it's like I am with him where it's just like, these could kill you at any moment. They're literally designed to kill you at any moment. So it's just like, yeah, I would be frustrated too and just be like, you guys stay back, stay back, because I don't want you blundering in and dying. Let me deal with all of this, And then he just blunders in anyway. So it's like, I understand the frustration, but then it's just like, it's also interesting just changing sort of his view on things, where he opens this treasure chest and is like, oh yeah, there's going to be, this boiling oil in there. It's going to be terrible. And then Senchi's is like, boiling oil? Well, we can get that, and we can use that to cook. And he's like, what? And it's like, here, now we have a source of fire because there's this fire trap. There's an axe that comes down from the ceiling that can be used to kill the giant bat. And it's just like, what? So it's like, Chilchuk's, whole world view, like, this is his thing, and it's being flipped on its head, basically, of like, he's never thought of these traps like that as tools, basically, for cooking, obviously. So it's just such a strange thing. But I like, them coming to an understanding of like, when it comes to traps, Chilchuk is in charge, when it comes to cooking, Senshi is in charge. But because of that, when those two need to cross, they do still work. You know, it's like, well, we need these traps to do the cooking. Therefore, Chilchuck has to use the fire trap in order to cook the what the hell did they call it? I want to call it tamaki. That's not right. Whatever it was, the fucking thing in the oil. I can't remember what it was called now, and it's not in the title. So it's like now he has to be the one to do that because he's the one that can go out into those traps and, you know, just sit there and know where everything is and know, you know, he's not gonna be at risk. Basically, I mean, he's at risk, but it's the risk is minimized by him being the one out there. So and it's interesting too because when Senshi says, like, you know, when we have to part ways, I'm not going to be able to do what we've been able to accomplish in such a short time. I can't do that by myself, you know? So it's nice to kind of learn different things. You know, they're learning cooking stuff from him. It's good that he's going to learn stuff from them too. And so he's going to learn some stuff about traps so that he can potentially use that in the future, you know? So it's really great stuff. I really, really enjoy this show. I remember a little while back I saw a video that talked about the new era of medieval fantasy anime, and it said basically we're going to have like a big 3 of medieval fantasy anime. One is Frieren, which we've already watched and is pretty damn good. The second was Delicious in Dungeon. The third one actually has not been made into a show yet. It's I can never remember what it's called, but it's a manga, and it's getting an anime adaptation this year. And I was thinking maybe we would watch that. If not, you know, immediately, then maybe after we finish Delicious in Dungeon, we would watch that too. But it's like these 3 are kind of now the big 3 of fantasy anime, and we're kind of moving away from the, you know, tired old isekais and stuff like that. And moving into just fantasy. And yeah, if this is one of the big 3, I can see it. I can see why a lot of people really enjoy this, and I'm really enjoying it. We're only 2 episodes in. We still got a long way to go. So yeah, really, really good stuff, and I'm curious to see where we are going next time. But that is basically it. With all of that being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. There's a bunch of links on screen if you want to go click around any of those. There's a playlist with all of my Delicious in Dungeon reactions, as well as another video you can go click on if you want. There's also a subscribe button and a Patreon button on screen, as well as other links in the description if you want to go check out any of those. See you guys later.